Vince with Listings to Leads, and this is our call to discuss the top tools for getting listings inside Listings to Leads. And as you know, a lot of people feel like you need to have listings to work with our system. You don't. We have a lot of tools even if you don't have your own listings. And so we'll sort of talk about those, but what I want to kind of point out before we get started in the class is just some resources for you, right? So if you're a client, you could go all the way to the bottom of our website and you'll see our blog all the way down there. And there's actually some good information here. And one of the things, I think there's kind of two major themes. There's actually a few now. Our PDFs, and I'm going to show you the PDFs because they're actually great at capturing listing leads. Number one way to get listing leads is covered right here. Then you'll also see sort of the story of Facebook advertising. We've got a really great Facebook ad generator. But you'll see a lot of the things to create seller leads are covered right here. I'm actually going to be talking about all of them. So if you kind of forget or you want to learn more and get details, they're down here, right? The other thing that you need as a resource is right here. It's our Facebook Mastermind group. If you're not in the group, you can't find the group, right? It's a secret group. So that means that you need to use the support team to get into the account. So if you go looking for the Listings to Leads Mastermind group and you're not inside of it, you will not see it, okay? But it's actually super useful, super helpful. And let me see here. It's actually, I'm going to show you, we're going to start. There were some comments last week from some of our clients. This is where Scott and I kind of announce what's coming up, what's coming down the pipe. But also this is where our clients talk about what they're doing, how they're using the system. And so we want to make sure, you know, that you're aware of that. So let me do a search on this guy's name, because the first thing I'm going to talk about is our print flyer, right? And I'll show it to you in a second. But Chris has some good information here. So let's log into Listings to Leads and talk about the number one tool that gets listing leads. And listing leads, not only listing leads, but listing leads that turn into listing contracts. It's great, obviously, to capture a bunch of listing leads, right? And put them in a database and drip on them for however long you want to drip on them. But if you want listing contracts, you want to probably focus on what are the ways of getting leads that turn into business. And the number one tool for that on the sell side is right here under the listing section. And when we go here, every one of these listings has what's called the nearby homeowner letter. You'll notice that I've got different statuses like under contract, sold, active. This is actually an open house. So I'm going to click over here on the task list, and you should actually be going through the task list every time your property changes a status. And I think I've got these 4 things checked. So I'm not going to focus on all the things, but I am going to focus on the things that do actually help you capture more listings. And underneath this checklist is a print marketing section, and the number one tool is a nearby homeowner letter. So I'll download it and I'll show it to you and sort of explain it. If you haven't seen it, you by all means should be using this, even if you don't want listings. If you just want buyers, which, you know, obviously are a little easier to come by. This letter is very straightforward, right? It's not high tech, it's not artificial intelligence, nothing like that. It's saying we've got an open house this weekend, right? And if you want to learn about it, you can go to this website right here. We create that link automatically, right? It's a landing page that's going to capture those people as a buyer lead. It also says when this home is sold, that will affect your home value. And that's the nature of a lot of the tools that we create, because they can take this physical piece of paper and go to their own computer and type in that address and there's going to be a landing page that's going to capture them as a seller, right? So it's this page, which we create for you automatically. So I'm going to type in something right here. I'm going to type in the home address. So this is how the page works, right? You type in an address, you click get the value, and then it's going to ask, it's going to say, oh, we have your value, or it's ready, and we show you a picture of the address so that you can, feel confident that we're talking about the right thing. And I'm just thinking about selling, right? And click view the report. So that's how our home valuation landing pages work. Okay, and we'll get a result here from onboard infometrics. We don't give them the exact estimate, right? We give them a range. What's the low and what's the high? And then all these green buttons that you see here are the, kind of call to actions to get them to contact you, right? Is that too low? Is that too high? Do you need a real estimate? And so that's how the page works. So I wanted to get you here because this little page here, this look, many of us have seen. And many agents feel like this is the thing that they got to get on Facebook to get listing leads. It is a way to get listing leads. It's the last way I would suggest if you want listing leads that turn into listing contracts. Okay, taking this and putting it on Facebook was an awesome thing for many years until about 3 years ago when Facebook changed their website, and you can't target and you can't drill down on areas. So this has become way less effective. There are other effective ways, and we're going to talk about them right now. But all this is sort of starting from the conversation of we have a letter that we want people to see, right? And it's this letter. So when you get this, the simplest way to treat this letter is to say, hey, I'm going to just print up 50, 100, 200 and door knock, right? Now I know there's COVID out there and door knocking is not fun anyway, but you can mail it. You can mail it with a bulk mailer. You can mail it by hand, and that's kind of where some of the folks in our group are talking about. And however you use it, people tend to get listings from it. Listings, not just addresses, okay? So I'm going to show you this guy's story, Chris, that came in last August. And last August was like, horrible inventory across the country, COVID lockdowns all over the country. And this guy, Chris, says, yeah, I got 5 listings in 3 months with your letter. Right now, he's got this cool video, but that's not actually what's, turning the dial. It's right here. It's that he mails that letter for any property, this particular letter here, for any property, any status. This one's open house. It doesn't matter if it's sold, just listed, whatever. He mails it every 2 weeks to all of his neighbors that have owned their homes for 5 years or more. Now you can sometimes get that from your MLS, or you can get that from some other resources or whatever, but that's a really smart way of overlaying good information with a great tool, right? If somebody's had their home for 5 years, they probably got equity. And if you get this in front of them, they're going to find out what that's all about, right? What their home worth is for. So after that, and here's the hard part, once they opt in on the home valuation page, meaning once they take this physical piece of paper to their own computer and type that web address in that we supplied automatically, once they've done that and they land there and get their value, he hits them up every week with phone calls, bomb messages, letters via email, and letters left at the door. Okay, so this part right here is how you capture the leads and how you convert them. And it's pretty straightforward, but I don't know if you want to do that. I can't make it any more easier for you. This is great. You don't actually need to have a video. If you watched my last class about Facebook advertising, I talk about running 8 ads a month consistently. throughout the month. And with that, your branding is going to be super high. People are going to know your name. And then if you're mailing like you're doing here, like Chris is doing here, well, now these people are thinking, oh, I saw that person on Facebook and I know they're a realtor. And now I've got this letter that's in my hand that I can go work with that same person. So that kind of helps you as well. Okay. So that's the number one way of doing it. I'm going to kind of show you a couple more things about this. And that is that, let's see, what's her name, Alicia. When people start to realize like, oh, these guys, keep saying this keeps working and their clients keep coming in saying this working. The first thing that most seasoned realtors want to talk about is how can I do that easily and cheaply? And bulk mail comes up to mind, right? Bulk mail. What I want to show you here is that our clients have realized if it looks like, junk mail, it doesn't get opened and it doesn't work. So here we can see that our clients are using more custom envelopes. Some of them are handwriting things, the addresses on, whatever it is that prevents people from throwing it away, right? If you're going to mail it, you want to put a little bit of thought in that, right? And I'll show you one last thing, and this is from a client of ours down in the what do you call it, Maryland area, right, just south of DC. And he came in and said the same exact thing. He's like, hey, our highest ROI is that letter. And so in his way, he got black envelopes. He mailed them first class to 250 homes. It cost him $625, but he did get 10 listings with an average commission of $17,000, right? So that's a great return. And even he came in later, a couple months later, and said, listen, I'm getting better results with this fancy silver glitter Sharpie pen. And I pay somebody to handwrite these things and people open them, right? And that's the point. This letter is straightforward. It's not a big, heavy read. It gets high quality listing leads as long as people see it. You could even door knock it if you want, but that's kind of there. Now, again, this is on the listing side under print marketing. So let's talk about another cool tool to help you get sellers is right here, and it's the seller social media. Now, I showed you this home a little bit earlier, and I said it's open house. This tool we email to you, right? We email to you automatically whenever you change the status. And the trouble with it is, I think it's confusing. I don't think agents use it readily, and they may not be comfortable with it. Or not. So but the point is it's a very helpful tool for getting referrals, and it also is a straight up testimonial. So I'm going to go over here as you saw earlier. Let's see if I can close this thing. You gonna close for me or what? Let me show you this. So this home is an open house, and you would think, why would I market an open house if I want listings, right? And so this is going to get into a couple of deals. So we email this to you in a kind of a an email format, and we tell you, hey, send this to your client. And after you send it to your client, call them for 5 seconds, right? And just say, hey, I just sent you something, and I know you get 100 messages a day. Would you just copy what I sent you and put it on Facebook for me? Because we want more people to see this open house and get you more offers and get you more money, right? That makes sense. Now, I see a question here, so let's take that before I dive into how this works. I'm running an ad on Facebook with your home seller's secret. Oh, and I received 2 leads, but 9 folks have clicked, and I have to, should I use lifetime budget? Okay. Oh, that's interesting. Kathy, can you, when I get into the Facebook ads, will you re-ask this question? Because this is not really relevant to what I'm talking about right now. So this is an open house post, not an ad, for the homeowner's website, right? So we give you tools for you to market, and even Kathy there is asking about, she's running ads, but we give you tools. We can even auto post to your own social media for you. But this is not for your social media, it's for your client's social media. And the reason we do this is says, hey, there's an open house. We're having an open house this weekend, and you, the realtor at your office, is doing a lot of marketing, expect great results, right? And if you click on this, I'm going to go through it right now. It's going to drive you to a page that's going to show you the information on the home, right? So that makes sense. Now, here's one thing about listings to leads that you may not know is as you go through the tools, we're always looking. This is an open house. We're always offering up, what is your home worth, right? You keep scrolling down, you look at the photos, you see the maps, you see the Zillow reviews that you got. Then there's a big old footer. What is your home worth, right? Even I've got a link here, which is on my lead gen links over here. It says, what is your home worth, which drives to a landing page. But notice when the call to action comes up, right? And this is saying there's an open house in 5 days. So to get the information, I continue with Facebook. And the next question we say is, do you own a home? Now, by clicking continue with Facebook, you know my name and email right now. And a lot of people will say, yes, I do own a home. And do you need to sell before you buy? Yes or no? Well, we're getting clients with those leads too. Then this just takes them right back. But now you know the name and email of the person who is looking and that they own a home and they need to sell it. Now, we do this because we're just using common sense. You all know that when somebody wakes up and wants to sell their home, that they just don't whip out the phone book or a computer and start calling random realtors, right? They start doing research. They start looking in the market. And if you're using our tools to market listings, they're going to have multiple opportunities to become a seller lead for you, even while they're doing their research. So this is, like I said, an open house tool, right? Now, but the other more important factor about that is that this is going on your seller's Facebook page. And that means all of your sellers' friends and family and colleagues, where they share all the food pics and the pet pics and their kids' pics and the grandkids and all the fun stuff, they're also going to be sharing that you are their realtor. And that pool of people, those old colleagues and the friends and the family, those are the people that you're hoping to get referrals from, right? So you can leave, right, some business cards behind, or you can buy some really shiny cutlery and give that to them when you close the transaction. But you can also use this when it's open house. You can use it when it's just listed. You can use it when it's sold, right? And so let me show you what it looks like when that same tool for the seller, sorry, I'm trying to get us down here. It's just got too much junk in here. We can actually, sorry guys, it's taking forever. I should have had this loaded up. I had it and then I had to close the browser to restart it. Let's see here. This is sold. So same, it could be the same property. You give them the just listed tool, you give them the open house tool, and then you give them the just sold tool. And this is what it says, right? It says, hey, we just sold this and we want to recommend you at your office for doing an excellent job. Here's your phone number and email in front of all my friends and family and colleagues to contact, right? If you need help, right? Now, if you click on this one, let's talk about sold advertising, right? If you click on this one, oh, Gita, are you on the call? She must have removed that. I wonder if you're not doing an open house on your brand new listing. If you're not, yeah, you have that same tool just listed, D. Yeah, that tool is available when you're just listed as well. So that was an actual post from Gita who had a live listing, but I think she also sold one, and so it's been removed. So let me show you. Your question was, could I do that when it's just listed, right? Yeah, all the statuses have that same listing letter, the nearby homeowner letter. They all have the seller social media, and they all have tools for you for your own social media. But you can change it to just listed, and boom, you're off, right? I'm going to, here's the one that's sold, and I'm just going to show you the just sold, my just sold single property website, so that you guys understand another thing about listings to leads. And when you've got a property that is under contract or pending or active contingent or just sold, we change the call to actions, right? We're not looking for buyers anymore because not many buyers are looking at sold properties. I mean, unless it's like a super awesome home, they're not going to go looking at it, right? You know who looks at sold properties? Homeowners, because they want to know the value. So notice that the call to action here is not become a buyer, it's get your free home value, right? So this is, even though you don't think of it this way, it's a single property website for a sold property. It works just the same way as a home value page, a home valuation landing page. But in this case, we're talking about a home, right? So you should definitely be marketing things as sold, and you should be marketing things under pending if you want, and things like that. So that's a real roundabout way of letting you know that there's a social media post that gets you not a lot of leads, but high quality listing leads. These are people that know your current clients, okay? So that's definitely something that you should use. Another thing that's in this section, in the marketing section, is the e-flyer for your database. And this one, I was talking to somebody last week who has a lot of leads, and they're broken down by sellers and buyers in their system, right, in their CRM. And frankly, just make it easy on yourself. You don't have to separate that when you're using our tools. You can just say, hey, I got a property that's sold. I got a property that's just listed. I got an open house. I want to let you know. So I can copy this code right here. Go, and when you copy the code, it's this kind of weird HTML stuff. Go over to your CRM, your MailChimp or whatever, and then paste in this weird stuff, and then click the source button inside of your CRM, and it'll make it look graphical. And there's going to be, they can click on that picture or on that link and get to the page to become a buyer or seller lead, right? But also, it's going to say, just like the print flyer, when that home is sold, it's going to affect your home value. So click here to go to my landing page and get your free home value, right? So this kind of tool should be used every week by every one of you. And you might not have your own listings, but you can borrow listings and we'll generate these same tools for you to use. I wouldn't, if you're borrowing a listing, I wouldn't recommend using the seller social media because that's a little too, you just don't want to do that since you're not the listing agent. But if you're the listing agent, by all means, you got to be using that. So these are the 4 tools that are created for you on the, one, we definitely want you to use these at every stage. You're going to get more buyers, you're going to get more sellers, and obviously it's great for your branding. There are other tools like the virtual tour, which acts the same way as a single property website. It's going to capture both buyer and seller leads. You can, push that out, syndicate it out in however way you want. If you work with Keller Williams, you can put it in KWS. If you work with any of the Realogy brands like Coldwell Banker, Century 21, that you've got something called Dash, and you can put this in there. It's going to capture leads, and they're going to syndicate it out for you, and you're going to capture leads. So I would definitely use that, or you can just share a virtual tour, right? You could just say, hey, click that Facebook button right there. And the reason why I would recommend that is people love virtual tours, right? They just do. They like looking at moving, shiny things, right? So just say, hey, you know what? This just sold for 40K above asking, right? I'm hearing these kinds of numbers from realtors all the time. And I've got 8 offers and 7 buyers still looking, right? A lot of our clients think, I don't have an active listing, so I can't use your system. This is exactly how you use our system if you sold listings, right? Because this right here, what I'm writing is motivating to any homeowner, because one, I'm telling you, I got a bunch of offers and I'm getting more money for your house, and I've got buyers already looking, right? So definitely don't forget about our sold advertising, stuff like that. Okay. So from here, I'm going to jump into that. That's how you market a listing. And that's why these tools can help you get more listings. They're obviously going to help you get buyers, but they're also going to help you get more listings. So definitely use those. Now I'm going to go into the ad section. And the ad section, there's some really powerful stuff. You should watch my Facebook ads class so you'll know how all this works. So I'm not going to go into the details of exactly how everything works, but I do want to get into, and let me take a breath here and pause and talk. I was getting a message from Gita. I don't know if I can find her. Gita, are you here? Let's see if I can find you. We were talking, yeah, she is here. Yep, she is here. So last week we were talking, yeah. So Gita, if I am not answering your questions, let you know, make sure and ask me. We're going to concentrate because Gita and I were talking and she wanted to run a sold ad, right? So just like I showed you. So how would you do a sold ad, and what does that mean? So when you go create listing ad, you find your sold property. I got one right here. And what we did is we did a lead ad. So I'm going to create this. And you really got to pay attention to this, guys, because, you know, we made a mistake there. And I want to talk about what Gita wants. And I think also what you want. Okay. And so when we talk about Facebook advertising, we often tell you to use a lead ad. And we were even telling you that just a couple months ago because we were able to do something that Facebook just recently changed. So when you create a lead ad, you click this form, create a form, you type in the location, and you leave the budget, right? And or you can change the budget if you want, but I'll talk about these three elements in a minute. But let's click on create new form. This form here on the right is the form. You click this green button to create it down here. This is the form that Facebook pops up automatically. Okay, so when they see your ad, let's kind of role play this a little bit. You see this ad here? When they see this, they're going to see it. Let me go to my news feed. So this is my news feed, right? And who knows it's going to be there? Yeah, here's a sailing thing. Yeah, and there should be some kind of ad right here. So your ads show up right in this news feed. So when you run an ad on Facebook or run it through here, this whole thing here, it says here it's sponsored by Listings to Leads, but your ad's going to be sponsored by your business page. This whole thing shows up right here where you see this, where this picture, right? And then instead of share or whatever, there's a learn more button. When they click learn more, well, a form pops up, right? And that form is this form that we created here in Listings to Leads, and it has their name, email, and phone number. Now, just about a month or two ago, it had also the address, and you would want that if you want to get a home value, right? You want to know the home value. And so I got to kind of stop you and Gita and myself, because when we were talking last week, I forgot that we had actually removed that, or Facebook removed it. They don't want to use this form to give people's addresses, right? If you know anything about Facebook advertising, Facebook got hit by some hard legislation because agents were running discriminatory ads in their platform. So Facebook had to create some new rules that you may or may not know about. Facebook also had, like, you know, election tampering and weird stuff. So they've had some rules put in on them affecting the way that you, a realtor, can run an ad. And so what that means is we can't actually have this form ask for their physical address. So what that means, and Gita, what that means for you, when you're trying to run an ad to get listings, if you want people to land on this page and experience that pop-up to give them the home value and get their address, You don't want to use a lead format. You want to use, let's do it again. Let's go create listing and change it to traffic. Okay. And when we click on traffic, same property, it's actually going to look, I think it's going to look exactly the same. But what's different is when you'll notice that you don't need to pop up the form anymore, right? That lead form isn't popping up because we're not going to capture it on the Facebook platform. We're just going to type in the town and we're going to type in the budget. Now, I want to kind of just explain something here because I think Gita or somebody asked me, they was like, oh, this ad is not working right. Should I change my lifetime budget to daily budget? And I want to just explain to you what this is. If you're distracted, this is a nuance that can be really important, okay? On the difference of lifetime budget and daily budget is how Facebook applies the money, all right? So we see here it's 50 bucks. And if we and let's just say we had a 5-day ad and we said it's a daily budget. That would mean to put $10 a day, every day, until the 5 days are over, right? But if you leave it on lifetime budget, which is our default setting, this tells Facebook, drop the money in when the most people are on Facebook, okay? So imagine that you ran an ad on Friday, for instance, for 5 days, and you didn't know that nobody is on Facebook on Sunday or Monday. This is actually not true, I'm just saying. But so if you took $10 and put it on Friday, on Saturday, and then on Sunday and Monday, and nobody was there, the $10 would be sitting there, just not getting used, not getting the most amount of leads for you. That's what daily budget does. It spreads out the money evenly. On the lifetime budget, it puts all the money in when there's a lot of traffic, when you got the most chance of capturing leads, right? So that's what lifetime budget is, things like that. It doesn't mean you're going to pay them for the rest of your life. Your ad's going to end when you decide it ends right here. Okay. So let's see if we got a question here. Okay. So I think we got a couple questions there that Gita was asking me. Gita, are there any questions that I forgot to answer in this one for what you just experienced? So again, when we're doing a traffic ad, I'm going to just back up so we can see this. If you're trying to get listing leads on Facebook, meaning you're running a sold property, an under contract property, you're really trying to get, you really want home value, you want to drive them to our landing page. So in that case, when you go to create an ad on a later stage, you don't want to use, I'm going to go right here, listing ad. You don't want to use, let's give it a second. It seems to be jammed up here. I'll restart this. I'll restart this page. Yeah, good, okay. So I'm going to create a listing ad for a sold property. Yeah, this one's in contract, that's fine too, it's in contract. We don't want to use lead ads. We want to use traffic ads because we want to send them to the single property website that's already designed to capture listing leads, right? And like I said earlier, when a property is in contract, pending, or sold or active contingent, we're offering a free home value. And that's really what you're after, because the first question there is, what's your address? And then the second question, what's your contact information? So that's what you want to be thinking about when you're creating an ad, right? While we're still in this section, I want to go into create a landing page ad. And we also want to do, let's just do free home values, right? You're still going to want to drive traffic because you want to drive them to that landing page, right? But let's create it and let's get it out of the way of what's going on here. One, I think you should do one of these ads once a month, okay? You put 20 or 30 bucks on it. A few thousand people will see it. It won't be sponsored by Listings to Leads. It'll be sponsored by your business, and that's good for your branding, right? problem of running an ad like this is a very generic ad. You notice it says, what is your home worth now, right? That's a little bit generic, right? I live in a town called Lafayette in California, and I live in a county called Contra Costa County. And the price swings of homes can range from, 300,000 to 10 million. So I'm going to want to get the most amount of money for my property, right? If I sell my property. So I don't want a generic, I'm not going to respond to something generic. I'm going to respond to something that's really about my area. And so generic doesn't work very well. If I typed in Lafayette as a city here, and the page, let me just do this real quick, look, is saying 15-mile radius. That means that this ad is going to show up in Lafayette and all the other neighboring towns like Pleasant Hill and Walnut Creek and stuff like that. And it's not specific enough. When you're trying to get real value of your home, you kind of want to know, like, do you know my area, right? So if I go back to create an ad and I say, well, I can actually create unlimited landing pages with listings to leads. And I've got landing pages for Pleasant Hill, right? And I can type in the zip code or whatever, but I'm going to drive traffic and I'm going to create the ad. And so now this gets a little more specific, right? Pleasant Hill has 30,000 people in it. And I'm talking about Pleasant Hill in the ad, right? I've even got a picture of the local Pleasant Hill, the new, what do you call it? Mall. So what happens when I type in Pleasant Hill over here? And what happens is actually a bit of a bummer. And of course it doesn't work, but oh, there we go. Pleasant Hill, come on. So here's Pleasant Hill, and I can't shrink this radius less than 15 miles. And this is the other reason why these kinds of ads don't work very well on Facebook. Because let me show you, you probably don't know, let me just show you, give me a second, what goes on Pleasant Hill, California. So if I have a 15-mile radius, that means that my ad that only talks about Pleasant Hill is going to be seen. What's the issue here, guys? Give me a second. It's going to be seen by all these other people in these other towns. Walnut Creek, Crockett, Concord, even way down here, like, 15 miles, it'll reach out to Berkeley, right? So all these people are going to see my ad. And you know what happens if they click on my ad? Where is it? If they click on my ad, they chew up probably $5 of my $50 ad budget, right? So I don't want that. You don't want that, because when they land on the page is only talking about Pleasant Hill. So it's a great way of getting your money chewed up and not getting good leads. Running home value ads on Facebook was one of the top things you could do to get listing leads in real estate. It is no longer the top thing. It's, for me, the bottom thing you can do, the last thing you should be doing. It is something I think you should do once a month, because I think it's good for your brand. And I think you should be telling people that you can get them a free home value, right? That you're that kind of professional person. There's nothing wrong with that. How do I change a custom picture? Yeah, so let's go do that. So on the landing pages, you can create, as I mentioned just a moment ago, you can create a property valuation plus landing page, right? Now, that's a landing page, that's a home value page. You also get a free home value page right here, right? And so we look at it, and you always get this generic, weird picture. This is actually an old one. The new one is even dorkier than this. It has a coffee cup on it and a computer, because Scott and I think everybody has a coffee cup and computer. And that's true, they do. but it's so generic that it doesn't mean anything to me, who again, I own a home in Lafayette, or I own a home in Antioch where homes are 300 grand. I don't want generic, especially if that doesn't look like my neighborhood, which that doesn't. I want to make sure that I'm doing something that looks like my area, right? Here I've got a landing page, Property Valuation Plus, with a cool drone video on it, right? Of Annapolis. This page is about Annapolis. So I want something that's going to make me think that I know Annapolis, right? So the way you change those pictures is, instead of clicking the eyeball to view, you click the pencil to edit. Whenever you see a pencil in listings to leads, it means you can edit it. And when you click on that, the first thing we drop you on is the area to upload and change the background image. Okay, so this is a landing page for Cambridge, and yeah, here's a picture from the university in Cambridge. So it kind of gets you to know that, oh yeah, you know my area. Generic is not great if you're going to ask somebody their address and their contact information, right? I mean, I'm pretty sure you guys snoop around the web every now and then just to go look at whatever, cars, shoes, whatever. And when somebody says, hey, can I have your phone number and email online? Do you give that up, or do you just go away, right? Because that's kind of what you're asking people when you do a home valuation landing page. It's the first place to establish trust. And the easiest way to build that is to say, hey, you know what? I know your area. And I'm showing you Summit Diner because you may not know this, but I'm the one who sets up the offices around the country. And so when I set up an office, I train the offices just like you're doing right now. And we'll talk about this particular kind of tool and this kind of landing page. And when I set up Coldwell Banker in Summit, New Jersey, they came back to me and said, wow, we're getting all these leads. It's awesome. And the number one page, home valuation landing page, is getting us the most listing leads, is the one with Summit Diner in the background, right? A lot of agents think it's the multi-million-dollar mansion in the neighborhood, but not everybody owns that. A particular house on the back of a landing page is not the thing that works, doesn't move the needle. What works is if you're getting people to let them know that you know their neighborhood, right? In this case, this is an old converted railroad car. It's where everybody has their, bacon and eggs on the weekend. If you know this place, you know Summit, New Jersey, right? And that's what you want to think of. How do I let people know? If I made a landing page for, I don't know, Saratoga, do I have a picture of maybe downtown Saratoga in the background so that you know it? Is there a Saratoga High School, right? Things like that. You want to do that. Yeah, cool. Okay, so everybody gets that. If you're going to use this page, and I definitely recommend that you all have a Property Valuation Plus landing page for every farm market where you want listings. Okay, you do it by going up here and you click Property Valuation Plus and you type in the name of the town, right? You don't have Needles. Needles, I think, is way down in Southern California. You do that and you click Add Landing Page over here, and the first thing we're going to tell you is upload a background picture, right? That's what we're going to do. So what I do want to talk to you about right here, though, is that we want to discuss not Facebook advertising, but what is the other cool way? So you see this, I got Haiku. Haiku is a cool little town in Maui, on the island of Maui, right? And this is like a waterfall there, right? You hike right over there and you can see that. So you would think, well, God, should I go run an ad on Facebook? And I would tell you no, because it's going to go to Haiku and it's going to go to Paia and it's going to all these towns, and they're going to chew up your money and it's not going to really work. So what can I do with this page to get more listings in Haiku? And right here is a pencil. And this is kind of bad on our part, because while it is pencil means edit, it really on the landing pages gets us to the advanced options. And this is something that I want all of you to be thinking of. You remember when I showed you that letter for the property? Like, hey, I got an open house and go check it out here, or go get your free home value here. Well, we also have that right here in the advanced options under print marketing for that landing page. So you don't even need a listing. You just need to create a home valuation landing page for every town that you want, right? And then you download this page. It's called the landing page letter, or I think we call it a sold report. So notice it's got the picture in the background at the top. This language right here that I'm highlighting in the middle of the page, that's all it is. You can edit that yourself. You can go find out from the MLS, like, hey, 300 homes sold this year, 50 sold last month. The high is here, the low is here. You don't need to change a lot. It's just a few lines. And to do that, you guessed it, there's a pencil right there. When you hover over it, it says edit. So what you can edit it and then download it. And then these two hyperlinks are auto embedded, and they are going to drive people to your home valuation landing page and also to this one here, right? So this one here is something that we create, which has all the listings in your account. I see some questions here. Where did you get the image from? Well, you can get the image. Often when I'm doing this, I do it from Google, but I'll give you a little tip. Let's say downtown Lafayette, right? This is something that you might want to do, right? I mean, if you're making a Lafayette landing page, this would be the search, and then you go to Google and you go to images, and you see all the images of downtown Lafayette, right? So you want to get one of these in the background of your page. So when you're here, go to tools up here underneath this search bar, click size, which gets you to large, but also you probably want to look at usage rights. And what you should, and this says Creative Commons license. So I can click here and you're going to see pictures that you can use without getting somebody upset about, copyright, like they paid for it. Commercial and other license. And so the trouble is that the one that's Creative Commons, often it won't have the right kind of picture. Another way of getting that picture is just whipping out your fancy smartphone and holding it horizontally and shooting a picture, and then change it to like 2,000 pixels wide, and it should fit, or even 1,500 pixels wide. And then just upload it right to the background, and that background picture will show up inside of the flyers, and it'll show up on the back of there. So again, I really suggest that you have a landing page for every town where you want listings, okay? And then click that edit button to get to the advanced options and get the get the nearby homeowner. This is Release Valley, and right at the beginning of Release Valley is a top high school with a great swimming team. You see it every time you drive by it. It's like there's signs and there's competitions and this and that. So if you're in Release Valley, you definitely know what this is. And again, it's the goal of letting people know, I know your neighborhood, right? You're going to ask somebody to give you their straight up contact information and address. You need to develop a little bit of trust there, okay? So that's the landing pages there. When you go to landing pages, you can click Property Valuation Plus, and that's the standard home value one, and you can go over here and go to locations. I do want to say that there's other kinds of landing pages, and the custom free report for buyers or for sellers. You might have a report that you have from one of your lender partners or title partners, and you got this report, maybe from your MLS or just your office, and you want to give away that report, but you want contact information. Well, you would go here, you type in the location of where it is, and then when you add it, you can customize the whole page, all the words or whatever, and you can upload the report so that when people fill out the form on that on that report, on that page, you're going to get contact information, right? So definitely I am a fan of doing that, right? So let's go over here, and speaking of reports, now I'm going to say this, and this is going to get real detail oriented. If you're creating a custom report, like I'm kind of showing you here, and you go to create an ad to drive traffic to that report, well, remember, you got to drive traffic, right? So I can go to landing pages, and I could say, hey, you know what? Let's give it a second to open up here. See what the problem is. Well, why is it so slow here? Sorry, guys, give me a second. Probably got too much open. Okay, so I'm going to create a landing page ad. And instead of the free home values, I'm going to go down to my custom report for Danville, right? Seller report. Now, in this way, I want them to go to my landing page because that's where I'm going to deliver that custom report. So I want to use traffic. When they click on the ad, it's going to take them to the landing page where they're going to download it right there, create ad, right? Now, over here is another button that says create PDF report ads. So this is a new feature of listings to leads, and it's awesome. We have 50 seller reports. You can even toggle this, check this out. You can say, hey, I want these in Spanish, but we're going to leave them in English, and I'm going to click on seller reports. We've got 25 seller reports. Oh my goodness, we did a custom one right here. That's awesome. That's great. We can do seller reports, and all 25 of these are designed. These are things that sellers would want to know. You'll see a white button here where you can download the report before you use it. But if you click anywhere here or click create an ad, we're going to create an ad. And when people respond to the ad, we're going to send them an instant email to get the report and download the report, right? And every different report that you use has a different look here, right? And also, you create form. That's the form, name, phone number, and email. Create form here. Type in your city and publish your budget. So the reason why I like these sorts of things is they're for all homeowners. They're not just for homeowners in Lafayette, right? And there's no language about that. It's, it's like, hey, you can be pretty generic with this and still get a lot of leads, right? So I'm going to kind of I'm going to stop real quickly and just go into a little detail about the budget, because you may not know this. You can see that this is a $50 ad. If you've noticed earlier, I was running other properties like on Open House, it was a $35 ad. And there's a reason why we have those two defaults, and that is that Facebook charges every time somebody clicks on your ad, okay? And that means it says, here's an open house. Here's an open house in my town, and click for more information. Well, when Facebook sees something that's for sale, they typically charge you $1 per click, okay? But when they see that you're trying to get something for a home value and they know it's a listing lead, they think those are more important to you, and they charge you about $5 a click. Now, these are not exact numbers, but they are numbers that we see a lot. I see leads cost less than I see leads cost more. I don't know where you live, and I don't actually even know how Facebook prices it. But in general, almost always seller leads cost more than buyer leads, okay? So that's a big deal, right? That's a big deal that's why we have a $50 ad budget here. Ideally, you'd get 10 leads out of this, right? Now, this is a little more deep about Facebook advertising, and not particularly about getting listings. This retarget current leads, that's the new Facebook retargeting system that we've added, which allows you to target custom audiences of the leads that you've already been capturing. You probably want to watch the support page on that. It's super easy to set up. And we basically set up custom files in your personal Facebook accounts so that when you're running ads and you're capturing leads, the next time you run an ad like this one, those people are going to see your leads, right? And you know this, and in case you don't know this, let me just explain to you a little bit about the real world. We do not respond to any lead and buy right there, especially when it comes to a transaction as big as buying or selling a home. We're going to need to see you multiple times. We're going to need to see your ads or see your brand multiple times before we're ready to buy or sell a home with you, right? So this is a great way with retargeting to say, hey, you know what? I captured that lead in the past. I want to make sure that they can see all the things I'm doing, that I can offer them, 25 factors that are going to, impact their home value, right? And maybe next week, if you do a PDF report ad, and again, maybe it's for buyers, maybe it's for sellers, you're still touching them again. So that's where that really can help you, is retargeting with custom audiences, okay? So are there any questions about Facebook ads and what to do and what not to do? And I want to say that one more time while I'm waiting for these questions. Running a home value ad on Facebook is not the number 1 thing to do with that, okay? So I do recommend running the PDF report ads, and I do recommend doing sold ads and things like that. And then we talked earlier about the tools that are created on listings, and we also talked about the other landing pages and the tools available there. Those are really the tools to get you more listings, okay? I will also say this: if you click this green button and you don't have your own listings, but you can borrow a listing, use the grab active listing and say, it's not my listing, right? We're going to create all the tools that I've shown you, and you can use them and go get listings. This is great if you're a realtor you're sitting at an open house for somebody and they're the listing agent. You should absolutely pull that listing in this account, get all the tools that we give you. We create like 8 tools and send them to you. You should use them all. We've got clients that market an open house for like, I don't know, 6-7 days. They pull out, 50 to 70 leads, some mixture of buyer and seller leads. As you've seen in the earlier part of this call, that's what our platform can do. So definitely take advantage of that if you're doing open house marketing. But that's the story, guys. There are tools here to help you capture leads. There are tools here to capture buyers and sellers, whether you have your own listings or whether you don't. Do you have any questions? Because I've kind of been running on here for an hour. Gita, did we get all the answers to your questions? The one thing that Gita was asking me also is, how do you market that e-flyer to your database? And the e-flyer to the database is going to be different because all these systems where you can blast from are totally different, right? So you can use this in any of your CRMs. Copy the code here, go to your Lion Desk, Top Producer, Wise Agent, Follow Up Boss. The names just keep going and going. There's new CRMs every time I wake up. So you can do that and blast it out. You can even blast it on MailChimp and Constant Contact. So I don't see any other questions. This call, you're welcome, Gita. Yeah, this call will be in the Mastermind group later today. Oh, thanks. This is Vince, Kathy. Kathy, did you get your question answered? You had one earlier. That was the thing about the lifetime budget. Yeah. Do you have the answers to your questions, Kathy? How does text IVR work? Okay, this is another question. So yeah, if you have any questions about anything, guys, I'm happy to answer. Text IVR is over here on the left. And what this is this gives you kind of a unique code for every property, but also unique codes for landing pages like your home valuation landing pages, right? And there's an 800 number up here. You could also text that short code to this one, and either way, that consumer is going to get instant information, the answers that they want. If it's about a home, we've pre-recorded it. You don't even have to record it. We've got this great system, and it does it. The benefit for you is, yes, you're delivering instant information to people who are interested, but also you're getting leads with phone numbers. And leads with phone numbers means you can text right back and say, hey, I saw that you're looking at that home. Maybe you put maybe you put this text on a sign writer, and that if somebody did that, they're sitting in front of it. It's like, hey, would you like to see it? Would you like to see other homes like that, right? Those kinds of questions. Converting via, by texting and getting the conversation started on a text is way smarter than picking up the phone and calling them. They don't even know who you are. So that's, sorry, when you come to this page, the first time, there's a button that asks you to subscribe if you want to get the checks codes. And you actually get 10 codes, and those codes stay with you. So if you sell a property and you printed a sign writer, you can reassign that code, just like this, to a new property, so that you can use the sign writer on a whole other property, and it's still going to work for you. Yeah, I need an invite. Yeah, so Stephen has a great question. I need an invite to the Mastermind group. You get in the Mastermind group by going over here to not to your profile, to the support page in your account. And when you go to the support page, there's a box here. Anytime you have a question, I suggest you put your question in this box, because our whole support team watches this. Stephen, you want to put in this box in your own account, can I get in the Mastermind group? How do I retarget Facebook? So Myra, that's another good question. Let's go over to ads. If we go to the ads section, and I don't know if I'm going to see it. Let's wait here a second. It's going to give us a pop-up on this page. Now, I've been in this on my page a number of times, so it may not show it to me. But normally there's going to be a pop-up here, and it says, turn on Facebook retargeting. And you should turn that on. Like, all of you should turn that on. And this is something that's super powerful, because you may be an old client, meaning you've been with us for years, or you may be a new client, meaning you're just getting started with us. The thing about Facebook retargeting is that in Facebook, you can create what's called a custom audience. You might have a bunch of leads that you've had over the years, and you can download those leads out of your CRM and upload them to Facebook as a custom audience. Because at some point, if they're a lead, they were interested in property, and you want to stay in front of those people, right? Doesn't matter if they're buyers or sellers. You can separate it. You can create a buyer list on a custom list and a seller list on Facebook as a custom audience. I don't know if I think that's a smart thing to do, because today I'm a buyer, in 2 years I'm a seller. Things change for people all the time, so you might as well just keep building that brand. But the point is, you do that inside Facebook, and then here, when you turn it on, and I'm sorry I can't show it to you, it's basically a big page that says turn it on, and you turn it on, and when you do, you're able to let's just create a listing ad right here. And let's do I got this open house, lead ads, create ad. I showed it to you earlier, but what it does is you then check this box and you say, you know what? I want to target everybody that lives within 15 miles of Lafayette, but I also want to hit everybody inside of my custom audience. And so you might have a custom audience that you call, let's say, Boomtown, right? Like, maybe you're using Boomtown for 3 or 4 years, and you got all these leads, and you just want to know, like, well, I want to know what happens with those leads. I'm going to call it a Boomtown list, right? When you turn on retargeting in our system, we're going to create 3 custom audiences in your Facebook profile, in your Facebook ad account. And even if you leave us, those are going to sit in your Facebook ad account for you to target in the future. In our system, we just make it so easy that it's, you got to use us, especially if you're running Facebook ads. So what that means is, every time you capture a lead, we're going to put it in a L2L all leads, and an L2L buyer leads, or a L2L seller leads. And then you can target those same people right here, right? And that's that's how it works. That's what it is. I definitely recommend, number one, that if you're in real estate, that you run all your ads through this page. If you've ever run ads on Facebook, you know there's 3 pages. You know there are plenty of places to make mistakes, and you can waste a lot of money there. In our system, our ads are boiled down to 3 clicks. It takes you just seconds, like not even a minute to run that. So I do recommend that you do that, and I do recommend that you turn on retargeting and that you use retargeting and you run those ads to custom audiences, because we've been doing this for 11 years and we have succeeded because we're really good at capturing leads. But capturing leads is cool, but converting leads is actually where the money is. And retargeting and running ads to those previous leads is how it's going to really help you convert those leads. So I definitely recommend that you're using your custom audiences, that you turn on, retargeting, and that you consistently run Facebook ads and leads. And one last thing about that, when you turn that on, you see here, if you go to your leads tab, we got all your leads here. And when you turn on Facebook retargeting, we're going to create, remember I mentioned we're going to create those files of like buyer leads from L to L and seller leads. If you've been with us for years, we're going to upload all those to Facebook. All those past leads and any future leads are going to be available for retargeting for you in the future. So I definitely recommend, if you've been with us for a while, that you turn that on. Well, everybody, that's my story for today. Keep safe. Learn our platform, use our platform consistently. It definitely helps our clients grow their business. And if you want to grow our business, this is the best way to go. Thanks, everybody. This call will be in the Mastermind group, and we will be here to help you use a support team whenever you need it. Great team. Let's see here. I think we got one more question. Oh, you're welcome, Gita. You're welcome, Kathy. All right, everybody. Take care. Talk to you soon.